Working with ChoralQuest has been a challenge, a wonderful challenge. It's not something that's so new for me. I don't work with students very often, especially not students who are younger. And finding a way of communicating my language, both in the piece, but also in working with the students directly, has opened up a different angle on my own music for me. Trying to actually explain what a piece is about, how to think about a composition, what a composer does, what I'm trying to express to them, what I'm trying to express to the audience, has been really wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience that gives me a new perspective on myself as a composer. It's also great to be able to work with this community. I don't have really an intersection with my hometown as a musician. I have an intersection here as a person who lives in the community, but most of my work is outside of it. And so to actually work with kids who are part of this community, who live here, who are my neighbors, who I wouldn't know otherwise, is really a fantastic experience. I played them a bunch of my music and tried to keep it short. You know, tried not to be hurt if they didn't seem to like one thing or be too excited if they liked something else. And then we worked on elements of the piece. We didn't kind of build a piece together, but we sort of looked at how the piece that they were going to be working on broke down into different parts and some of the elements that they needed to learn in order to successfully perform it. But I'm excited that some of them seem to be into composition themselves and writing music, and now that I'm here in the community and know them and know Kayla, hopefully they'll use me as a resource and we can keep working together. It's funny because I do so much of my work with, you know, professional musicians who work at a really high level, and that I choose from all these people from around, you know, the country or around the world who I'm going to work with. And then here it's like I have to work with these students who are not professionals, who are not adults, who are not used to working with a composer, who don't really understand what that means. And that's a humbling process because I want to make it work for them. That's my first priority, is to make it a positive experience for the students. And so you really have to kind of get out of yourself as the normal composer brain, which is like, it's about me and my work, and make it about, you know, what it should be about, which is about these kids or about a community or about your interaction with people in general. I guess what surprised me the most is how working with students on anything is almost the same. Like we didn't get to the music until later on. It was really kind of figuring out, okay, how are we going to talk to each other? And figuring out who they were as people, as kids, and then learning from that how I would talk to them. And then you get into the music. Then it's like, okay, let's actually figure out how to make notes together, how to make sounds. Some of the things that I have to work with the students were a surprise because they're not the sort of thing that you have to deal with professional musicians or even just adult amateurs. You have to talk about, you know, behavior issues and sitting still and listening, and that was a surprise. I guess it shouldn't have been, but my daughter's only 3, so, you know, I'm not used to middle schoolers either. And then also, you know, there's a different way that students at this age, middle school students, just look at the world. And I think it was interesting to realize that I'd always thought about music as being learned in a particular way. You know, what's important in a piece, what's important in the process of learning a piece. But for these students, they're just seeing the world through 11, 12-year-old eyes, and that's a completely different experience. So I had to kind of see it through their eyes, not just the piece, but how they see the world. And that was challenging to do, but really interesting.